What's going on, everybody? Welcome to The Obsession. I'm Carl Bethke.
I'm Mike Stadler.
Oh, Mike.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, buddy. Hey, Phil just came in.
He did.
We had the deer report.
Yep, deer report. Seen one.
There's one out there.
Seen a big one.
He's a big one.
Seen a couple good ones.
Yeah, that's good.
No opportunities yet.
Not yet.
Raining.
Raining right now.
Not too bad, though.
No. I'd probably sit it out, but that's me.
Yeah, I wouldn't have came out of that big boy's on his feet.
Yeah, if I seen that deer.
But,
All right. Well, what do we got here for our next question?
I got a couple.
Do you? All right.
Yeah,
that's
so had one of my listeners ask me about hunting funnels and pinch points.
good. Yep.
Kind of how to identify them. I don't think a lot of people really know what they are.
It's true. A lot of people talk about it, but they don't really know.
Yep.
So funnels and pinch points.
Yep.
You want to start it out or you want me to start it out?
Sure.
Go ahead.
I started.
All right, lay it out there.
So I even was writing some stuff down so I didn't forget.
Holy
just on
cow.
some of the stuff that I know, that I look for. So funnels and pinch points are different,
Yes.
obviously. Funnels, so like to me, like if you're looking at a funnel, it's a lot of times where lots of, like I like to look at where a lot of trails kind of come together,
Yes.
where a deer, you know, kind of a lot of deer can congregate at the end, and a lot of people say, well, it's a pinch point. It's not a pinch point. So, like I can say one stand here, like my flyer stand, is a funnel stand.
Yes.
So that stand has 5 trails, basically, that all come to a head 20 yards from the stand.
Mm-hmm.
That's a funnel
Yes.
for an observation, or for a instance for some people. Washouts are real good for funnels, like, you know, higher spots, especially ridges. Like we have a lot of ridges. You do.
Yep.
more than I do, but where stuff washes out and gets rocky, they're going to look to more go around an easier access area.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times where 2 fields can come together, and there can be a washout, but there's one area where they like to funnel through,
Yes.
is a deer funnel. You know, it's a lot of things like that you can add in. It's anything you want at this time. So I got a ton of stuff to say
Well,
too. But
funnels in general, think of it as taking a broader area and narrowing it down smaller, not to a single point, but
Yeah.
to an area that they use, and then they broaden back out again.
yeah,
That's a
aerials
funnel.
aerials are good for this.
Yeah.
If you look at aerial maps and topo maps, you can find them,
Oh, yeah.
you know, pretty easily. You know, a big one, especially on your place, and we've got stands there. You have those huge rock outcroppings.
The cliffs. Yeah.
That's a funnel.
Yeah.
Because there's only certain places where the deer can go
Yeah.
around that, and people always think they're going to go through the nastiest. They're not.
No.
They like easy.
The prime example is the location where I shot Captain Hook. That's a funnel.
Mm-hmm.
So what it does is there's bedding behind me,
Yeah.
bedding in front of me, and then food to the west.
Yeah.
And we're getting that bedding to bedding transition during the pre-rut and rut, and we're also getting that bedding to food transition.
And those are nice, big, easy trails too.
Yeah,
They're
and
not-
they have locations there that it's not that narrowed down to one pinch point, but they can travel like a 60 to 80 yard wide space, and we've got our stand located in that space. We can shoot down or we can shoot up and be successful. That's a funnel, where a pinch point is totally different.
Pinch points. Well, we'll just do the funnels first.
Yeah. The other thing where you'll see funnels too is let's just say swamp area where you've got, say if you look at a large swamp area, you got a bunch of cattails and stuff out there, you know, it's wetlands, and all of a sudden out in the middle of there's a couple trees,
High spots.
a small island
Yeah.
or something like
High
that.
spots.
Those deer funnel through on those islands, and you get a lot of movement through there.
If you're like Carl's talking, you're looking at a swamp and it's all wet, nasty, deep water crap. They're not going to be in that all the time.
No.
Look for high spots, and you can do that real easy with aerials.
Yes.
Because especially if they're giving you elevations,
Yep.
and you can look down and look and be like, ooh, that's a good spot where it kind of comes up and they can cross from one point to another. It's going to be deer activity there.
Yes.
You know, you can go and look for deer sign
Yes.
a lot of times.
Yeah.
Especially if you're surveying different properties or new properties. It's no different than what we did here or at your house.
But it's no different than when we go out west.
Yeah, you're looking for something that's going to
Structure that's
Structure
going to
animal,
funnel,
yeah.
funnel the animal through that,
And
or
it's-
the animals through that.
it's a lot of what we do with the building structure.
Yes.
It's kind of what we're doing is we're forcing deer to use certain paths.
One of the best examples is what we did last year on your property here,
Yep.
where we made that long line
Yep.
on the east-west transition.
Yeah.
And it works pretty dang
And
well,
it's
doesn't
funny
it?
because Phil's sitting there like, oh, I can't believe how much they run that back and forth through there. Weird.
Huh.
That's how we set it up. They kind of have to do it, you know?
They're creatures of habit. They're going to funnel
Yeah.
through certain areas, and they're going to pass through these areas because it's where they're the most comfortable.
And I mean, there's a lot of different kinds of them.
Yeah.
Another one, which I know you know well, is when we had the lease, that crossing, the water
Yeah,
crossing.
the creek crossing.
You know, if you got a deep and you have certain crossings on yours, even though yours isn't as deep as what that was.
Right, right.
But, you know, a river or a waterway crossing that's real deep all the way around, and all of a sudden there's one spot that's up high.
Yeah.
That would be, you know, ankle high maybe on us or something like that. That's where your deer are going to cross
Yes.
if they can. It's easy.
Sweeper crossing.
Yeah, sweeper crossing is
Yep.
one of them.
Yep.
You know, the crossing we called it
Yeah,
at the lease.
at the least. Yeah.
Deer are always funneling through there.
And we had to stand there until the tree died.
We did, and then we still left it there.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. You know, it's things like that. You know, because people are asking us how to identify them. You know, line fences. People don't realize, but connecting, especially ones that connect two pieces of woods.
Yeah.
Maybe one's yours, maybe one's not. But that line fence is basically a funnel because that is where those deer are going to travel. They're not going to be out in the open field.
That's where your deer died last year.
It
He
is.
went to that line fence
Yep.
because that's a funnel to him to get over to that far
Yep.
woods, that
Yep.
little piece of woods over there.
Yep.
So he got to the line,
And that was it.
but that was it. He went down there.
And the same thing with those, with waterways in between two field edges. Like
You've killed a lot of big deer
yeah,
on waterways.
We were talking earlier, those two field edges. So especially when your crops come down, you
Yeah.
know, now those fields are open. So they're going to drop in and they're going to use that waterway crossing back and forth because they're out of sight,
Yeah, 100%.
you know.
G-spot.
Yeah, G-spot. That's the funnel stand, and that's on a waterway.
Yep.
I mean, I think a lot of people talk about them but don't know what they are.
Yeah.
And it's,
Remember, think of funnel as a larger space. A pinch point is a pinch point. That's why it says point, narrow space. Funnels are larger spaces, and if you're fortunate enough to find good ones, you could set your stand up in the middle and cover the whole funnel.
yeah.
There are funnels that are larger than that you can cover with a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
But what it's doing is basically, you know, the front side of a hillside where it slowly, gradually gets less steep
Yes.
is majority of the time a funnel area for the deer to come around.
Yeah.
We kill a lot of mule deer on funnels
Yeah.
and edging of these steep hillsides when we're in North Dakota or even South Dakota.
Yep.
That's a big one. The funnels, to me, are probably more productive than pinch points because pinch points, your percentages go down because the deer has to be using that one little spot.
Yeah.
Where a funnel, they have space where they can go through at any level of it. Your best bet is to set your stand up where you have a higher percentage of covering both sides.
And and a pinch point, in theory, big bucks don't like to use them as much because they're limiting their escape.
Yes,
Then they know it.
they're smarter than that.
They don't want to be somewhere where they can't get out in several directions, normally.
Normally, yeah. I mean, if it's the rut, it's the rut.
Yeah.
But if hot doe goes through that pinch point, he's
Yeah.
going to go through that pinch point too. Pinch points with big deer are substantially lower percentage to me than funnels. On the grounds that, like you said exactly, they will not limit their ability to leave.
Yep.
And I honestly don't hunt very many pinch points during the rut. I hunt the hell out of funnels and transition funnels. A lot of the times, too, some of your best funnels, guys, are obviously between the movement, bedding and food and bed, or bed to bed during this time of year, the rut, pre-rut times.
Well, you know, I talked with a guy about this the other day, and he was talking, he hunts public a lot.
Yep.
So we talked quite a bit at the gym, and he was like, he's like, I got this one spot, and he's like, it's got a really good trail there, you know, and stuff. And he's like, so I set up on there. So I said to him, I said, you know what you should do? I said is walk around a little bit, and I said, find all the trails around there. I said, find, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5 trails. I said, and I'll bet you that all of them at some point kind of come together or fairly close together.
Yeah.
And I said, there is where you really want to be.
Right.
You know, because otherwise, you know, look at it this way. You're hunting a trail, cool. Deer are using that trail, I get it.
Yep.
But you're hunting one trail now.
Yeah.
So if, say you find 4 and you can get in an area where those 4 kind of converge, now you're hunting 4 trails.
Well, you just increased
Yeah.
your odds.
Yeah,
Basically.
by 75%.
Yeah, 75%.
So the funny thing was, yesterday then, I saw him. He's like, I went in, dude. And he's like, I followed those trails. He's like, and there was 4 trails, which is why I brought this up. He's like, and he sat there, and he said he's seen the biggest buck that he's ever seen hunt public land. He did not get a shot at him. He was, where he set his stand, you know, was a little, because you're guessing, obviously.
Right, yeah.
But he said he's seen the biggest buck he ever seen, and he's seen 2 more bucks. And 2 he drew back on, just didn't get the opportunity, but he's like, that was awesome. You know, just one thing, one move like that put him on top of the deer, you know, in public.
Yeah, the other thing to remember about funnels is bucks will use funnels certain times of the day and certain times of the year.
Yep.
They don't always transition through that consistently. When you look at a funnel with a buck, whatever space in there that has the most cover with an edge on it is where that bucks are going to be. They're not going to be in the open part of the funnel if they can be close to or in the cover. Prime example, Captain Hook again, working that lower edge through that buckthorn.
Yep.
I seen him, called to him, he came up. But that's the funnel edge that all the big bucks were using. Every
Right.
single big buck came through there. I take that back. The one bigger 8-pointer didn't come through there. He was up above. But that was that morning hunt.
Yep.
The 28th
Well,
of October.
it's the exact same kind of situation as my bottom plot, where they run the bottom just off
Yep.
the side of that low ridge,
Yes.
and they come in that bottom chute of that plot. All the big bucks come in there.
Yeah.
That's what they're using.
Yeah. Well, they have to have that cover to
Yep.
feel secure enough to
Yep.
do it.
And that's a funnel. Everybody's like, oh, it's a deer show. It's a funnel.
Yeah. And never doubt yourself. There will be funnels that you just can't hunt.
Yeah.
Don't, on certain wind directions. You can set stands on them as long as you understand entry and exit and wind direction for both of those. Very important. Hunting funnels, you always enter perpendicular to the funnel movement. That's your entrance and your exit. Never down the funnel movement. Never walk parallel through a funnel to enter or exit your stand. Maybe during the rut it might be a little bit different, but majority of the time you want to enter that location perpendicular to the deer movement, because there's less of a chance for you to leave scent for them to actually utilize and educate themselves.
Right.
So that's the other part about a funnel. Now, do you want to get into pinch points?
Pinch points? Yeah. Have at her.
Pinch points. Pinch points are very narrow, usually one trail location, or very, very narrow locations where deer transition through a piece of structure. So like Mike was saying, the funnels around the top of a washout on a hillside. So prime example is the kill corridor where we used to hunt across the road of the house.
Yep.
It's a real deep washouts down this steep hillside, and we were hunt on the downwind side of this hillside, and there was transition across the top where it was flatter, and that was a funnel, and down below where it was flatter, and that was a funnel. But in the middle of it, there was a single pinch point where the deer would cross.
This is a buck I've been after
And I
all
killed
year.
Nightmare
Buck I
there,
called Nightmare. I've
and
got
I
pictures
killed
of him from
Giant Freak there, the
late
one with
June,
the
early July,
4 drop tines. I've killed a couple other of those bucks in there too. That particular spot is one independent point that those deer would always cross if they were staying in the middle, and it would usually be during the rut and pre-rut, because they wanted to be able to scent check what was above and see what was below. If they travel the funnel above or the funnel below, they can't do that. So their best advantage was to cross at this one location where it was a little bit flatter. And it was still steep, but those big bucks would do that, older class bucks.
Yep.
So that's a pinch point, and it's a narrow location where deer move, and it's usually it's a singular trail on steep edges,
Yep.
or singular trail through swamp between water on both sides. So like, let's just say a dike or something.
Because they're trying to stay dry.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't want to be in the water if they don't have to be.
No.
You know, in the swamplands. That's kind of similar to that stand that we had on the lease that I had in that corner.
Yes. Yeah,
That
that
was
was a
in-
pinch point too.
That was a pinch point there. It was on the kind of on the downside of that hill, super thick, and there was just that one solid trail
Yep.
that came down below. They had to use that trail to go through.
Yeah.
If they didn't, they went way out wide, which never mattered.
Yeah. Well, same location as where you had picket fence.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. The G spot.
Yeah.
That was the original G spot.
original
back there.
G-spot there, yeah.
There was only one place they could go.
Yeah.
Because we had the water and the marsh.
Yeah.
And they had one dry area where they went through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what a pinch point is. They're huntable. Trust me. Like Carl just says, a percentage or lower. They are.
Yeah.
But
But usually that's where the big deer.
But that's usually the time where there's big deer.
Yeah.
You know, and these are all big deer that we're
Yeah.
talking about. You know,
Yeah.
so I mean, don't look at them as the same, and don't. One can be just as productive as the other.
Yes.
Funnels are everywhere. On almost every property, you're going to
Yeah.
find some sort of a funnel to hunt.
Yes.
I mean, more than one.
Yeah.
You know, so it really comes back to, I think, learning aerials, especially when you got elevation changes, stuff like that.
Yep.
Any wetland you're hunting, especially if you guys are hunting public and you're out in these marshes, because a lot of the public around here I know is marsh.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So if you get up and you look at these aerials and see where some of these drier crossings are, these higher spots are,
Usually indicated by trees.
yep, is where you want to be.
Yeah. And you can see the same thing on some of the areas by my place. One in particular on public land just down from my place, my house. There's an old Christmas tree farm there. Well, they had left up, 15 rows of trees. Well, now they're 30 feet tall.
Yeah.
Well, that 15 rows of trees goes between two big wood lots. Well, are the deer going to travel out in the field,
Yeah.
or are they going to travel down those pine trees?
Yeah, no, in the cover.
Yeah, it's a funnel
Yep.
because, that's the easiest cover location for them. Pinch points, deer hunting, and we'll emphasize this probably throughout the entire year. You guys are going to hear us talk about it, but deer hunting becomes math really rapidly when you start thinking about percentages. And funnels are a higher percentage hunt than a pinch point, but at certain times of the year, the pinch point can be far more productive. But you have to educate yourself on all of it.
Yeah.
And finding them is part of it, like Mike said. Pinch points are far harder to find on an aerial photo than
Funnels.
a funnel.
Yep.
Pinch point is pretty much boots on the ground, find the location, because a lot of aerial photos will show a little bit of a washout sometimes, but a lot of times these washouts are not even indicated. You'll just see a little slight swoop
Yep.
on the hillside, and then when you get there, it's actually like a 5-foot deep ravine.
Right.
And the
Well-
deer will walk around that.
And a pinch point sometimes can be like how I talked about, how one stand might have 4 or 5 trails to it. Okay, so now one of those trails
Yes.
might be a pinch point.
Sure.
Where there's a piece of it that they have to walk through a very narrow path, there's no other way around it, that they're going to have to go through there. Now, you can hunt that,
Yep.
obviously like Carl said. You might get a big one on it.
Yeah.
But, your percentages, obviously, are to be at the end of all of them.
Yeah.
So that's an example. If you're looking around, like Carl said, boots on the ground, you got to walk your property, or if you're in a public or wherever you're at.
Yeah.
When we're out west, that's all boots on the ground up
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. And a lot of it has happened over the years.
Yeah.
And
there's, and the stuff changes.
Yeah.
In
a year, you'd be surprised
Yeah.
how much terrain can change in certain areas, certain locations.
Yeah, especially with weather.
Yeah, buddy. But I think that pretty much narrows up pinch points.
I think so. I think it was a pretty good one. Thanks for the question. I don't remember who sent me that. I have to look back on my phone. But I've been talking to so many guys about it, so I figured we were talking about some of this.
Well, that's a good one. We appreciate you guys listening. We appreciate the questions from all of you. If you guys have any questions, put them down here in the comments, and we will address them in upcoming shows. If you want to just listen to the podcast, you can check us out at Spotify,
RSS.com,
Google,
Amazon,
Apple,
iHeart.
Check our pretty faces out right here at YouTube.
Yeah, buddy.